Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I have not made a video for ages. I hope everyone has had a nice year. I've been soul searching and I hope you have been too. I have emerged because I felt called to make a video about the lunar nodes changing signs into Aries and Libra because I love the lunar nodes. They are amazing. They are magical. They bring so much potential for growth and evolution, and who doesn't vibe with that? So in this video, I'll be talking about the North Node moving into Aries and the South Node moving into Libra, which is the axis of the self versus the other, the axis of relationships, me versus us. This transit teaches us about who we are and what we want. It empowers us to first become aware of our desires, then to go for them, to take action on what excites us and what we feel passionate about. We are learning about courage and confidence. We are being empowered to face our fears head on to get to where we need to go. I'll start first with what this transit means for us in general, then more specifically in each house in our birth charts, but don't just skip straight to your sign because I want to go into more detail about what this transit means as a whole, and you'll miss out on some important stuff if you do skip. Okay, so first some small details. The lunar nodes change signs on July 18th, 2023, and will stay in Aries and Libra until the 11th or 12th of January 2025, and I'm referring to the true node because that is what I use. The North Node has not been in Aries and the South Node hasn't been in Libra since 2006, and after this round they won't be in these positions again until 2042. The lunar nodes are not planets, they're mathematical points where the moon crosses the ecliptic. It's all very complicated, so I won't go into it more than that. But from now until March 2025, the eclipses will be in Aries and Libra or very close by, so we'll find the nodal lessons we are learning will be intensified around the time of the eclipses. So during the next 18 months, we will be experiencing fated events that call for us to evolve in a specific area or areas of our lives. We will be feeling this shift in general, but also in at least 2 houses in our charts, and this is where we will be learning, growing, and evolving. So you will need to check where Aries and Libra are in your natal chart to see what area of life is being activated for you. For a lot of people, this nodal shift will move through 2 sets of opposite houses. So the North Node in Aries could be in your 11th house, for example, South Node in your 5th house, then the North Node will move into your 10th house during the 18 months and the South Node will move into your 4th house. So when I get to the house interpretations, you might need to watch the 11th house one and the 10th house one depending on your chart. You're also going to want to look at your Mars in your natal chart, its sign, its house placement to add to what the nodal shift will bring for you, as well as your natal Venus, because they will add to the story in a big way. Okay, so basically the North Node shows us what we are learning, what we're focusing on, where we feel called to invest our energy, what we're opening up to, becoming aware of and learning to embrace. The transiting South Node shows us what we're moving away from, where we have less energy, what we have spiritually outgrown, and what we're letting go of in order to move forward and evolve. So where the South Node is transiting for us, we can start to feel uninterested or blocked, or like we don't really want to invest any more energy into that area at this point in time. But you'll also find the lessons the South Node brings also get us to where we need to go because we've kind of already been there. The nodes and the houses they move through for us are connected. I know for me most recently, while the South Node was in my 6th house, I was less interested in being of service because that's a 6th house thing. I was more inclined to go within myself, spend time alone. It was actually full-blown isolation, working on myself and overcoming my challenges, which is the North Node in the 12th house. That's what I felt like I needed to do, but I learned that I needed to do that through the South Node in my 6th house, through actually being of service. So you can't really disregard the South Node's lessons. And also this is not forever and it's not always outside you, but while the transiting nodes are in specific houses for us, we have very important lessons to learn in those areas of life at this point in time. You know how people say, dance like no one's watching? I don't know if people really say that, but just pretend they do. That's what this transit is. It invites us to be who we are, to be true to ourselves, to do what we really want to do. That thing you've wanted to do but haven't because you're worried how it will affect others, it's time to do that thing, to do what you're passionate about, what excites you. Over the next 18 months, where we have Aries in our chart equals growth. So with the North Node in Aries, learning all about independence, assertiveness, change, action, getting things in motion, decisiveness, risk-taking is how we grow. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so it brings a freshness with it. It's about starting new things, new beginnings. It is energizing. Aries is a self-orientated sign, so it really teaches us all about us. We are being shown where we should invest our energy, what is really important to us on a soul level. It can feel like there is an urgency to get things in motion, and that is good to do as long as you pace yourself. Aries is an act now, think later kind of energy, which can be very good if we're used to missing out on opportunities because of fear or lack of courage, or if you've been putting the needs of others in front of your own needs for too long, or if you've been censoring yourself in order not to disrupt the peace. With this transit, we are learning all about courage. All the things we've wanted to do but haven't for whatever reason can come to the surface in the next 18 months, encouraging us to take action on what we're passionate about. We will also become interested in new things and new paths too. The North Node in Aries is an energy that asks us to contemplate where we need to put ourselves first. Where do we need to go for what we desire? What do we need to act on? This can really be a time of self-discovery and self-awareness, and we're learning about what we want as individuals, which is very important, especially if you feel like you've lost yourself a little, or if you feel like you're not living life to the fullest or the truest. And with the South Node in Libra, some themes we are becoming aware of and learning to let go of are insecurities, codependency, indecisiveness. We're letting go of the need to be liked or people please if it prevents us from what we desire. We're letting go of keeping the peace if it is causing inertia, and if we are not fully getting our needs met. Libra is really about balance and fairness. So if the scales are heavier on one side, someone is missing out. So we are finding where we are missing out and learning to rebalance that. So while the nodes transit the Aries Libra axis, we find ourselves learning lessons about me versus us, mine versus ours, relationships, as well as individuality. Relationships of all kinds will be in focus over the next 18 months, and we will need to have the courage to let go of the ones that are preventing us from being who we really are. We are learning to say goodbye to ways we may not be having our needs and desires met because we don't want to upset others. However, this is the axis of relationships, and without others, we cannot fully know who we are ourselves. I know that's maybe debatable, but I really believe that. Over the next 18 months, it's very important to use all your relationships as a mirror to discover who you really are. If you feel reactive or triggered by someone, let that be a clue that there is something under the surface that you need to become aware of and heal. That is a signal that you need to change something, initiate something. And with this transit, it starts with you. Those you are around, those who are triggering you, are teaching you about you. This transit can help us to find where we are lacking in independence, why we have not started something we've wanted to. Think about where you are limited because you rely on others to fulfill your needs for you, or where you rely on others to tell you what to do or give you approval before you can begin something, and how that holds you back. And this can be in any of your relationships. So this can be with your partner, your friends, your boss, your family members, society in general. During this time, we will discover where we need to be brave and courageous, where we need to work on our confidence as we discover our insecurities, what fears we need to face head on to gain independence and harness that Aries warrior energy. What attachments do you need to let go of that hold you back? Or how can you learn to balance your needs with those of others so that you aren't missing out? With this transit, we are learning to ask for what we want and get it. We are also learning our role within relationships with others. If there are relationships where you feel like you can't fully be yourself or act on your desires, it may be time to let these go. If you have personal planets or your angles in Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, the transiting nodes will activate these in the next 18 months. So remember, whatever happens is helping you to evolve and grow. So stay open to the opportunities they bring. Remember also that the nodes move retrograde, so they will start at 29 degrees of Aries in Libra July 18th, then move all the way through to 0 degrees in January 2025. If you have the North Node in Aries in your natal chart, and you're probably around the ages of 18, 37, 55, or 74, you will be experiencing your nodal return in the next 18 months. This is a completion of a cycle relating to what you came here to do. It's also the beginning of a new cycle related to the same thing, where you'll be pushed to embrace your North Node in this life. You'll really recognize what you came here for. You'll find things that are no longer aligned with you will fall away to make room for new experiences that help you grow immensely. If you have the South Node in Aries in your natal chart and the North Node in Libra, and you're roughly the ages of 27, 46, 64 and 83 years old, you will be experiencing your nodal reversal in the next 18 months. This is a big time for you. You're experiencing a restart in your karmic path. You'll find your priorities change and you're kind of on a different journey, and this is fated. This is a huge time of growth and evolution for you, where you're fine-tuning what you came here to do through learning new things. Try not to hold on to stuff. What leaves you now, you don't really need at the moment, and there's always the chance it will come back after you learn what you need to learn at this new part of your cycle. If you have the North Node and the South Node in Cancer or Capricorn, and you're roughly the ages 23, 32, 41, 51, 60, and around 69, you're experiencing the transiting nodes squaring their natal positions over the next 18 months. I just had this, and it definitely served as a realignment of what I believe I came here to do. New things get added in, new experiences can drastically change your path. It can kind of feel like being at a crossroads where you contemplate whether you should stay or go, but it is a little more challenging than the nodal return and reversal in my opinion, and it can kind of feel a little bit stuck-ish, but just go with the flow. Trust me, you'll be amazed where you end up. Okay, so let's get on to what this means for us by house and sign placement. If you use whole sign houses, you can just go with your rising sign, but it can also be helpful to listen to your sun sign as well if you feel called to. If you just use Placidus houses like me, then go with what I showed you before in the video. If you don't know, just go with your rising sign. Okay, so if you're an Aries rising and Aries is in your first house, this transit is teaching you about you. This is a major time of self-discovery and self-awareness for you. If you feel like you've been living life in a way that is honoring the needs of others above your own, you're invited now to relearn to put yourself first and to live life the way you want to. The South Node is transiting your 7th house, so there will be a need for you to explore balance in your close relationships with others, but this could be a time of endings of old relationships as well, ones that no longer align with who you are now, or ones that don't allow you to be yourself, or because you are seeking more independence and want to learn more about yourself. You're learning about what you want outside of others, but also because of them. So this doesn't necessarily mean if you're in a relationship, you're definitely going to break up or anything like that. It's more about you're learning about who you are independently, which you can totally still do if you're in a relationship that honors independence. And this is all kinds of close relationships, by the way. It's not just romantic ones. You are releasing codependent tendencies. You're learning to face life with more courage and confidence. You are learning to be more direct with others. You're learning to be more assertive and honest through your close relationships so that you can do this with everyone you meet and in the way that you approach life in general. This is a time where you may feel called to start new things you feel passionate about, to get them off the ground. What excites you? Now is the time to follow your heart. As the South Node travels through your 7th house, you may find you're going back to relationships of the past, or at least the memory of them, or simply revisiting past relationship themes with new people. This is to remind you of what you want and what you don't want. You will want to live life your way and go for what you want with this transit. So if your relationships don't support that, it may be better to let them go. Take this time to explore who you are and make sure you don't fall into similar patterns that you have outgrown with others. It's also likely that you could have fated encounters with people who teach you a lot about yourself. The first house is also the house of health. your body and your appearance. So prioritizing your health and getting fit can be great to do at this time. Taking action on any changes to your appearance can also be on the cards. If you are a Pisces rising or Aries is in your second house, the next 18 months, you are discovering your true values and living life in a way that honors your truth. You are opening up to new ways of making money. You are finding independence in your finances, using your talents and skills to make you money. You could be starting a new business at this time, working for yourself. You are learning to take action on your desires, doing more of what you value, what matters to you, what you feel passionate about, rather than what others who you are bonded with want for you and expect from you. You might also find you have the means to buy things now that you've wanted to but weren't able to before. With the South Node in your 8th house, you are also letting go of insecurities that are detrimental to your self-worth and self-esteem, or insecurities and fears that make you feel like you can't be financially independent. Basically, any other people's shit that keeps you small or codependent, you're learning to let go of. This can be a great time to take action on healing any self-worth, self-esteem, or confidence issues that have been getting in the way of where you want to go, as well as themes of deserving and accepting money. You're learning about taking action on any financial goals you have. They may be risky, but sometimes the risk is worth it. The North Node in Aries can really energize wherever it's transiting, so you can feel motivated and driven to get your financial affairs in order, but you'll also be likely revisiting the area of other people's stuff, their money, their emotions, their needs and their insecurities to get to where you need to be. Even though you'll be exploring themes of joint finances and other people's money, remember the goal is to find independence within that, to learn to make your own choices regarding money and resources. It's time to be decisive and assertive with your resources. You may find a form of support you've previously been receiving gets cut off in order to teach you more about independence, or you may also be the one who decides to end that support from others if it prevents you from following your own path. If you're an Aquarius rising and Aries is in your 3rd house, this is the time to express yourself. You are learning to become assertive and honest and direct with the way you communicate over the next 18 months. You are learning to speak your truth, to speak your mind, to stand up for yourself, ask for what you want. Remember that assertiveness can sometimes feel like aggression when you first learn how to do it. So if you've been holding back because you want to keep the peace, or you want to be liked, or you don't want to upset others, then this is the time to start working on that if you have something you really want to say. You are learning about courage and confidence in expression. You are overcoming any fears about expressing your thoughts and opinions, especially if you haven't because of the beliefs of others or you're worried what they'll think of you. Enough of that. You are learning who you are through the way you express yourself. You are up-leveling in this area. It's a great time for you to take action in writing, learning, communicating, learning something new, any form of expression. Maybe you've wanted to do more on social media, or you've wanted to market yourself but haven't. This is a great time to embrace more of that. It's a time for you to be seen and heard. If you've wanted to teach others, this can be the time for that too. It is prime time to take action on any ideas you feel excited about. It's also a great time to explore or go on an adventure, more so locally than internationally, but you might also see yourself going back to a foreign land you've been to before, or dealing with international affairs in some way, or international law. Or you may be revisiting any previous form of study, higher learning, or beliefs, or religion, a path you've already been down before, since the South Node is moving through your 9th house, bringing these themes up again. But at the same time, you'll probably find you're studying, or at least searching for meaning and expansion, less in the sense of higher learning, and studying more to add to your skill set and express what you know. If you're used to traveling a lot, then maybe you'll be doing less of that and more exploring your more local surroundings, which can also feel new. You might also feel less involved with your international connections and relationships, and more focused on ones in your day-to-day. The 3rd house is also the house of transport, so you might find yourself seeking more independence in how you get around. So maybe that involves getting your car or motorbike license, or buying a new car or motorbike. It's also the house of siblings and neighbors too, so you may be finding independence here somehow and learning to be more assertive and honest with these people in your life. If you're a Capricorn rising and your 4th house is in Aries, this is a time for change in your home and family life. During the next 18 months, you may move to a new home to start fresh. You may decide where you want to live. You might be moving out of a living situation where others have supported you. So for some, you might decide you want to live alone, or you might be moving out of your family home for the first time. If you live with your partner, you may be finding yourself on your own a little more at home. Could even be because they are spending less time at home. Regardless of the why or how, you'll be finding more independence in your living situation, and it's Aries, so you'll be called to take some decisive action in one way or another. Making a spontaneous or risky decision regarding your living situation might also be on the cards. This is also a time where you are learning to be more honest and direct with your family members, letting them know what you want. You may be initiating new things in your family life, exploring your heritage or family tree. You could be diving deep into your early life conditioning to figure out what you want, who you are, where you belong, what fears or inherited beliefs have you had since childhood that are preventing you from moving forward and taking action in your life. How is your anger, rage, your energy? How do you assert your will? Have you repressed your emotions? This can be a time to have the courage to go where you haven't been before. You might take action on your psychology, like seeing a therapist or alternate way to gain self-awareness. Your past can teach you a lot, and you can really grow here by taking action on new things and facing fears. As the South Node is transiting your 10th house, you may experience changes to your status and public image, especially ways you are perceived by the public that aren't really you or you anymore. You may be letting go of careers or goals that no longer align with you. You could begin to work from home or start a home-based business. You may simply be working in a different place due to a move you've wanted to make. You may also find yourself revisiting old careers, old colleagues. You might be going back to past aspirations to tie up loose ends and learn something here. You're learning about what makes you feel good on a deep level, what you really want in regards to where you live, your family. Does your job limit your independence and stop you from being able to be yourself? Do your 10th house relationships prevent you from being the real you? So this can be work people, your relationships with the public, your reputation, your spouse, your parents. Regardless, you'll be spending less time focused on your public life and more time focused on your home and family life. If you're a Sagittarius rising and your 5th house is in Aries, the North Node is transiting your house of fun. Over the next 18 months, you'll be learning to embrace your creativity in a gutsy, honest way. This is the time for you to explore your personal passions, express who you really are, and find out who you really are through personal self-expression. It's a time of self-discovery by doing what you love to do. A time to put yourself out there, a time of enjoying pleasures and fun. This can also be a time where you feel inclined to take risks that can make you feel good. Gambling can also come into the 5th house, and it can be a lucky time where you feel energized to take action on this kind of stuff. But this is not financial advice, only you know what is right for you, so listen to your instincts. The 5th house is also the house of dating, so this can be a pretty wild time when you're meeting lots of new people. You can learn an immense amount about yourself through others at this time. A lot about love too, and feeling appreciated. The next 18 months are a time for you to have fun and really take advantage of what you like to do. Get super creative and pursue your hobbies and your passions. With the South Node transiting your 11th house, you can also be learning from old friends, groups, and communities you used to be a part of, and saying goodbye to some of these as well if they don't support the real you and what you're passionate about. If you feel the need to censor yourself or people please in your relationships with others in order to fit in, these relationships may no longer be in alignment with you, so you can see endings in this area. These people can teach you about what you want and what lights you up independently, and it is important to honor that for yourself. You'll probably find that you feel less inclined to put your energy into collaborating with others, friends, acquaintances, with groups, and more time investing your energy into what you love to do personally. Remember also that the 5th house is also the house of children, so if that is not where you're at right now, then know that babies can happen quickly while your 5th house is so energized and active. So if you're having lots of sex, be mindful of that. If you do want to have children and you've been trying, then the North Node transiting your 5th house can be an amazing time for that as well. Prioritize your fun over the next 18 months. Whatever you've wanted to do but haven't because your friends didn't vibe with it or you didn't have anyone to do it with, now is the time to actively begin these things independently if you have to. Think about how you may have any codependency issues with your friends or society in general, as you can grow so much in this area. If you're a Scorpio rising and your 6th house is in Aries, this is a very busy, active time for you. With the North Node in Aries energizing your 6th house, this can be an amazing time to get to the gym, to get fit, to get active, to take action on your health and your routines. This is a great time to create new routines that support your health both physically and mentally. If you've had an illness or an ailment that's been bothering you for a while, it can be time to sort that out. If you've had some kind of bad habit causing your body stress or lack of energy, now is the time to work on this. The 6th house is the house of self-improvement, so this can be a great time to take action on any self-development strategies. You may also find you're taking action in a form of service or leading others at work or fighting for their rights like unions, fighting for better working conditions. If you're self-employed, this can be a time where you consider employing others to work for you so you have more time to work on you. The 6th house is the house of service. So if you have a skill that you're passionate about that you can offer as a service, this is a great time to initiate this and get this in motion. You could also get a new job that is service orientated or step into a management role of some kind. With the South Node in your 12th house, you might experience a discovery of hidden ailments or forms of escapism or any codependent habits that keep you stuck and unable to move in some way so that you can work on this and heal this. You'll be spending less time in solitude and isolation and more time being of service and being active. This can also be a great time to think about how relationships needing to be liked or approved of have kept you limited. How do you self-sabotage yourself because of these beliefs? How does keeping the peace or the need to be pleasant limit the ways you work and assert yourself? You are learning to be more assertive and honest in your work life, especially if you've been hanging on to the need to be approved of or validated. The 12th house can bring up themes that are our undoing, so it can be important to work with what comes up here, especially when it relates to how you are of service, your routines and your health. The next 18 months can be a less spiritual time for you too, and it can actually be a really busy time. Any blocks you face relating to relationships and codependency that have been unconscious and locked in your 12th house can be activated at this time, so you can become aware of them and heal them and move forward. The 6th house is also the house of small animals and pets, so you may find yourself becoming more aware of the treatment of animals, or you may be motivated to start something where you are being of service to animals in some way. You might even decide to get a new pet. Libra Rising and 7th house in Aries. During the next 18 months, your area of focus is relationships. You are learning how to get your needs and wants met in partnerships. Whether it's platonic or romantic or business, you will be learning so much about yourself in this area. You'll also be learning about the needs and desires of others. You're getting to know yourself through others. You're also learning how to create harmony and balance in your relationships through being straight up and still having your needs met. You're learning to be more direct and honest with others. This could signal a time where you begin a relationship if you've been single, or start a new one if you're not. With all relationships over the next 18 months, you're learning to retain your independence, not entirely lose it. You're making sure you get what you want in the context of relationships. You'll probably spend less time on your own, more time with others in order to unlock more about you. This can be a time where you are seeking relationships in some way, and you can find yourself meeting people who feel familiar or karmic. Over the next year and a half, you are focused on others as they are mirroring you and what you need to work on. You are discovering and asking for what you want and what you need from others, as well as what you don't. Because as the South Node transits your first house, you're letting go of parts of yourself that stop you from finding this. The parts of yourself that prefer to keep the peace and be likable and be approved of. How does being polite and diplomatic stop you from fulfilling relationships? Are you attracting relationships that don't support who you really are because you appear a certain way? You're also letting go of facets of you that prevent you from relating to others. So like old ways of approaching the world, old ways of perceiving the world that prevent you from connecting with others. You are pursuing what you are passionate about and starting those things with others. You're exploring any fears you may have regarding close relationships and working on that. Aries is ruled by Mars, the god of war, so conflicts can arise in your relationships to bring you growth and teach you about yourself. Any imbalances related to partnerships will arise to be able to be seen, worked on, and healed in order to give you exactly what you seek in other people. If you're a Virgo rising and Aries is in your 8th house, the next 18 months is a time of transformation for you. It is a time to discover what fears keep you stuck and unable to move forward, especially when it relates to your talent, skills, self-worth, and self-esteem, as well as the expectations and values of others. Doing things outside of your comfort zone can really help you to grow and evolve over the next 18 months. Themes of power will be highlighted in order for you to take back your power if you've lost grip of it in some way. You're learning how to harness power by being assertive, decisive, and direct. It can also be a time of learning about what you want sexually. You may feel called to explore sex and intimacy, as well as learn a lot about your own sexuality, as these are 8th house themes. You may also find interest in the occult, what is considered taboo, and what you may not have previously explored because of the expectations of others, even if you've wanted to. With the North Node in your 8th house, you are learning about what you fear and feeling empowered in facing those fears now. You are also invited to explore themes related to death and may even become more comfortable around death. This is the house of other people's money, so you may find you're initiating joint finances in some way, removing debt or taking more on in order to gain more independence, or get something started. This can be a time when you initiate a joint venture or end one, like even a business or even getting your own bank account if you've had a shared one for a while. You're finding independence in your finances, but within the context of others. You are also learning to let your guard down with those you are intimately involved with. You're taking action on re-establishing independence in other people's stuff. With the South Node transiting your 2nd house, you'll find you are less focused on your own skills, talents, values, and finances, and more focused on what you can get from others, but not in a codependent way. This can be a time to take action on investing as well. The support you get from others is highlighted with this transit. You may need to ask for support in order to get what you want and what you desire, which in turn will bring you greater independence. So that may mean you're focusing less on making money from your own skills and talents and are more motivated to accumulate wealth through others in one way or another. Like it could be through your spouse or through inheritances. You can feel motivated to take more risks in this area too. This is also a great time to be taking action on healing any fears and phobias. You could also be learning about honesty when it comes to your deep and intimate relationships as you let go of any self-worth and self-esteem issues relating to partnership through the transiting South Node in your 2nd house. Leo rising and Aries in the 9th house. Have you wanted to travel but been too afraid to try, or have you been putting it aside for your other commitments? It's time to take your learning and perspective higher, to expand your mind through experience, to go somewhere you haven't been. Maybe it's time to travel independently. If you've been waiting for others to give you approval to go somewhere, or if you've been waiting for someone to come with you and no one is, then now might be the time that you maybe decide to go alone and go to the places you've always dreamed of. It can also be a time where you are learning who you are through exploring your beliefs, and you begin to study something that you've wanted to study. You are broadening your horizons with this transit. You are searching for meaning. Maybe you're also getting involved in international affairs affairs or law in some way, as those are ninth house themes. It is a time of adventure for you. That can be physically or mentally or spiritually or all three. Over the next 18 months, you're invited to take a step out of your comfort zone and take a leap of faith. Old methods of study can help you with your current goals for meaning, but ultimately you are learning a deeper level of understanding. You are learning who you are through experience. You'll find that you are spending less time expressing and more time learning things that expand your mind. Less time in your local surroundings and more time seeking expansion through travel or through higher meaning. What experiences have you been craving? Now is the time to do those things. This is the house of finding meaning. So whatever that means for you, if you've been putting it aside, now is the time to embrace this and to go for it, to expand outside of your normal day to day. Let go of what others think of you, what their opinion on your life should be. You're expanding outside of that box and narrow-minded ways of thinking. Your own perspective is changing with the North Node in your ninth house. If your relationships with others is stopping you from living life your way, ask yourself if their opinions are worth sacrificing your own needs and desires for. You are following your independent beliefs now and also realizing new beliefs. What does your big picture look like and what steps can you take to go towards that? The ninth house is also the house of publishing. You may feel called to publish a book or teach something. To do this, of course, you will need to revisit what you have learnt from in your third house in Libra. What have you learnt from others that can help you with your goal without being attached to their opinions? If you've wanted to study something but haven't because of the opinions of others, now is the time. It's also a great time to experience new cultures and religions and to add to your spiritual life by finding a new teacher or starting a new practice. Through exploration, you will find yourself. Cancer Rising and 10th house in Aries. The North Node in your 10th house is bringing some freshness and energy into your public life. You are prioritizing your goals, discovering and going for what you want in your career and public sphere. It can be a very busy time for you. You could be starting your own business in the next year and a half or taking your business to the next level if you already have one. You could be stepping into a leadership role and be given more responsibility and authority. You can see a huge level up in your career with this transit. You might also encounter fated events and opportunities in the public world that help you grow and evolve over the next 18 months. You might also be starting a new job, a new career, or following your dreams relating to your vocation and aspirations. You're learning to do what you are passionate about and put yourself first in the process. With the South Node moving through your 4th house, you are learning about what you want with your life due to deprogramming what you were taught you should do in childhood. Part of this might involve delving into your past to discover any blocks related to your relationships with your family and growing up, preventing you from following your dreams. Have you put your goals on hold in order not to disturb the peace or because you feel you won't be approved of? You could be revisiting your childhood home and exploring your family relationships and their impact on your goals. You'll probably also find that you're spending less time and focusing less energy in your home and family environment and more time and energy out in the world doing your thing. This could simply be because you're working so much so you don't have as much time at home, or because you feel very driven at this time. The North Node in your 10th house can also have to do with your status changing in some way. Could be your relationship status, or you could graduate and your title changes. Basically, there is a change involved in the way others see you in some way. You can also be seen in the public eye as being more independent and more pioneering. This can be a very successful time for you if you grab life by the horns, face your fears and go for what you want. The universe will help you there if you have courage, and if you don't, it will help you be more courageous. Don't be afraid to try new things at this time. Gemini Rising and the 11th house in Aries. It is time to get out there, to socialize, to network, to collaborate with others. If you want to learn more about who you are, you can do that through different circles of people at this time. Joining minds with others, collaborating on what you're passionate about and what you believe in. It's a great time to start projects with others where you are leading. You can learn so much about who you are and what you want through collaborating with others at this time. You may be called to lead a group or start one, or take action on what you have aspired to achieve. You may meet new friends at this time who also value independence or who teach you about it. The people you meet at this time can feel fated and will help you grow, but you will still have to do it independently. You're not relying on them. There's nothing codependent about it. You are discovering new hopes, dreams, and wishes. There will be tons of opportunities, fated ones, that are helping you to move towards your future. The 11th house is all about the future. So with Aries here, you can start things that end up benefiting you in the long term. But you may also be able to envision the future in a different way, both for yourself and for humanity as a whole. With the South Node moving through your 5th house, you're saying goodbye to lovers that never really eventuated. If you're single, you could be dating less. You'll be focusing less also on your own methods of creative self-expression and moving that to a wider arena. This may be a time where you spend less time working on your hobbies and your creations and more time learning about the things you love through the people you meet, or simply by expanding your vision outside of yourself. You probably find that with Libra in your 5th house natally, your passions and hobbies are naturally tied to partners or people you are in close relationships with anyway. So you're taking this a step further by perhaps working on projects with others you're not so attached to, expanding into bigger circles. You're also learning to be more assertive and honest with your friends and those you know, as well as any communities you're involved with. You can also be fighting for what you believe in, involved in activism in some way, or taking steps towards change that is outside of you. You're learning to rely less on the validation and approval of others and learning to be bold and loud to be you. The South Node going through your 5th house can also see you less focused on children, fun, pleasures, as you learn more about who you are, where you want to be, and where you fit in outside of the need to be validated. Taurus Rising and Aries in the 12th house. The North Node shifting into your 12th house will naturally make you feel more inward. You may find yourself preferring to take time out to stay at home, be with yourself, and to do the things you love to do. It is a period of internal self-discovery, self-reflection, and self-awareness, as you are letting go of old habits and routines you don't need at this time that prevent you from being your true self. It's a great time to ask yourself what you truly desire, as hidden wants, needs, and facets of yourself are unearthed over the next 18 months. You are finding independence and finding yourself through solitude. It can also be a great time to take action on anything artistic or spiritual, or a spiritual practice like meditation or practicing mindfulness. You can be starting new in this area as well. Anything that connects you to all that is, because this can be an insanely spiritual time for you. You can really establish or re-establish a connection with the divine at this time if you felt like you've lost that at all. Whatever divine means for you. It can also be a time to take action on anything that benefits your spiritual or mental health, as well as physical, because with the South Node moving through your 6th house, you're naturally letting go of, those kinds of habits that are not so good for your health. With Aries, I always think about anger, so working with that can be helpful at this time. You may also find out who you really are outside of ego and gain the courage to overcome any forms of self-sabotage, escapism, or any habits as well as fears that have kept you stuck, especially around relationships and harmony that need to be approved of and validated. You might also find you're less focused on and spending less time being of service to others and more time doing what fills your soul as you grow inwardly. The North Node was just in my 12th house. I literally didn't leave the house, but that actually made me grow and evolve in such profound ways. I actually stopped being of service to focus more on what my soul was telling me to do at the time, what I knew I needed to do. So this is the kind of vibe for you over the next 18 months. It's a time of soul searching. For you, it's in Aries, so this is very much about self-discovery on a deep level. For me, it was in Taurus, so it was more about coming to realize my values. With the North Node in your 12th house, you are finding out who you really are, what you really want, what you're really passionate about, and it's okay to put the needs of others to the side for a while, because sometimes you can only help others when your own cup is full. Because with the South Node moving through your 6th house, the need to be of service because it makes you feel approved of, or because you feel like you need to keep everyone happy, is not where you are focused at the moment. You're moving away from that. If you've been feeling burnt out from giving a lot, or just burnt out in general, this is the time to retreat, find yourself, work on yourself for you. The need to be there for others doesn't have to go away forever, but that is not where your focus is right now. Your focus is on you and what you need to do independently, maybe even in order to help others. Well, that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you have a really amazing time with the lunar nodes in Aries and Libra. If you got something out of this video, please give it a like and perhaps subscribe to this channel. And I guess I will hopefully see you in the next video.